I'll be doing predictions for six more games of week 7 of this college football season. So first, I'll start with the 11 o'clock biggest game, South Carolina at Alabama. So something weird happened at South Carolina this week that I'll talk a little bit about. So there's this defensive player for South Carolina that has been playing on their defense a lot this season that went to Shane Beamer's office, who is the head coach of South Carolina this week, and pretty much told him, I quit. I'm going to sit out the rest of the season, and then I'm going to enter the transfer portal. But I still want all of that NIL money and the free food and free housing. And I still want to be a part of the strength training so I can continue to get better for the new team. I just don't want to play for you because you're the coach of a terrible team, even though I committed to play for you. And then Beamer told them, well, pack your stuff and then get out right now. And I think that was the right thing to do. I don't think Shane Beamer is a very good football coach, but I think it's time that these quitters that are arrogant need to learn some loyalty. And I don't really have a problem with paying players, but I think if you're going to do that, all of the players need to make the same amount of money, no matter how good they are. And they also have to agree that if they don't stay where they've committed to it for the whole season, that they have to pay back all of that money that they've made. And I think all of this crazy stuff that's going on in college football is why Nick Saban is not the head coach of Alabama this season. I know he's old, but I do think that he would have stayed a few more years at least if it wouldn't have been for all of this transferring stuff. But back to the predictions, Alabama's going to blow out South Carolina. It'll be with Alabama like what happened with Ole Miss. Ole Miss had a upset loss, and then the week after they blew out South Carolina. Alabama's coming off an upset loss, and then now they'll blow out South Carolina. South Carolina's offense just is not powerful enough to be able to keep it close with Alabama. I've got Alabama winning this game at 42 to 17. And then one of the bigger games of the week, the Red River rivalry, Texas versus Oklahoma. So Brent Venable's defense, I do think will be able to slow down the Texas offense in this game. But the Texas offense is going to be too good, especially with Quinn Ewers back at quarterback, for them to be able to shut them down. The spread in this game is Texas by 15, and I think that's about right. I do think that Oklahoma's defense will be good enough for them to be able to compete in this game, but Texas also has a good defense that I think is just as good as Oklahoma's is, and Oklahoma's offense I don't think is good enough for them to be able to win this one. They've really struggled on that side of the ball this year. Oklahoma has a freshman quarterback that'll be making his second start in college in this game, Michael Hawkins. So that's not good to have such an experienced quarterback in a game like this. And in his first start against Auburn, he overall did not play very well, except for a few big plays. He had the big touchdown run and then the 60-yard pass that ended up getting them a touchdown. But other than that, he really struggled. And Oklahoma's offensive line is terrible right now because they have so many injuries, and it's made them not have much of a run game. And all of Oklahoma's starting wide receivers are going to be out again in this game, so that makes it harder on their new quarterback if he doesn't have any good receivers to throw the football to. So I've got Texas winning this game 27-14 over Oklahoma. And then Penn State at USC. So I think Penn State, being such a physical football team, is going to make this hard on USC because USC's offensive line is still terrible, and their defensive line's best player, Bear Alexander, quit on them. And USC's defense, I do think, is a little better this year, and Penn State's offense is nothing amazing. So I don't think Penn State's going to score a lot of points in this game. But Penn State does have two really good running backs, Singleton and Allen, and I think Penn State's mainly just going to use them to run the football on USC in this game and control the clock. And I think it will work. I've got Penn State winning this game 28-20 over USC. And now Florida at Tennessee. So, Nico, I'm about to leave you. Played terrible last week against Arkansas. There's no other way to put it. But Arkansas is, I think, a much better team than Florida is. Florida's a terrible team, and I think, Nico, I'm about to leave you. Will play better this week, and Tennessee's defense, I still think is very good. I don't think Florida will be able to score a lot on them in this game. And Tennessee, I know, has been owned by Florida really the last 2 decades, so you really never know about this game. But Tennessee is a much better team, I think, than Florida is, and I don't really see them losing this game at home. So I've got Tennessee getting the win 27 to 20 over Florida. And now Ole Miss at LSU, probably the second biggest game of this week of college football. So this is going to be a great quarterback matchup with Jackson Dart and Garrett Nussmeier, who are, I would say, now two of the best quarterbacks in the country. So LSU's defense, I do think, is a little better this year than it was last year, but they do have their best player, Harold Perkins, out for the season at linebacker. And I know if you're an LSU fan, you may be thinking, well, he's just one player, and you're just saying that's going to affect them because you're an Ole Miss fan. But even though Harold Perkins is just one player, he's so good that he would be starting on Ohio State's defense. So that is going to hurt them in this game, I think, not having Perkins in there. Now, Ole Miss, their best pass rusher, Princely, Aman Molina, missed their last game, and I saw that Lane Kiffin is hopeful that he'll be able to play tomorrow, but he's not 100% sure about it. And I'm not going to try to pretend like Ole Miss's defense would be just as good without Princely Aman Mullane in there, because Aman Mullane is a great player that's going to play in the NFL. But Ole Miss does have the most talent on their defense than they've probably ever had, and they've got more talent on their defense than LSU does. And offensively, LSU has got a lot of playmakers at wide receiver and a great tight end in Mason Taylor. And Ole Miss has a great tight end too with Caden Prescorn, and they need to get him the football more. And Ole Miss's best wide receiver, Trey Harris, I saw is questionable to play in this game after suffering an ankle injury in the last game. And I'm not going to try to pretend like him being out wouldn't hurt their offense, but Ole Miss does have several other good wide receivers, and Ole Miss, even though LSU is going to be a really tough game for them, and LSU is a really tough place to play. I think that their offense will be able to be a little more balanced in this game than LSU's will be. I think that Ole Miss will shut down LSU's run game and force LSU to beat them through the air. And I think that LSU will have success in this game, some throwing the football, but I think Ole Miss will have some success throwing and running at the football in this game. So I think it'll be really close, but I've got Ole Miss getting the win at 27-24 over LSU. And then now the late night game on Saturday, Kansas State at Colorado. So Colorado did get a win in their last game over Central Florida that I didn't expect them to get. But before I'm actually willing to say that I was wrong about Colorado and they're actually a good team, I'll have to see them win this game against Kansas State, which I don't think they're going to do. So Colorado probably is going to win another game or two than I thought they would, but I still think that they're a bad team at the line of scrimmage, and I think that's not going to be good going against Kansas State, who is a very physical football team. Now, Colorado having Shador Sanders at quarterback and then Travis Hunter at wide receiver and cornerback is a big help. Of course, those are two amazing players, but I still don't think that it's going to be enough. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, but I've got Kansas State getting the win 28 to 21. I think that their run game is going to be too much on Colorado with DJ Giddens and Dylan Edwards, the former Colorado running back. That will be it with this video, and please subscribe and thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.